Hey everybody, it's Dibblerulez, also known as Chris, and I'm here with Link again, and today we're talking about Sony's E3 press conference. We have a lot to cover, so let's just get started. Link, what did you think?
It was the best E3 press conference of all of E3 2015. Uh, Not by like a landslide, but by a lot. There's some little things they could have done better, but for the most part, it was it was strictly for the fans. Every single game that they revealed from the first game to the last game was just fan service, fan service, fan service, and that's exactly how all of them should have been. I think. Uh, I'm so glad that throughout all of E3, nobody talked about uh, sales and tech specs and this is where we were last year. This is where we are this year.
Yeah, they used to do that a lot. They didn't do that at all this year. I think they saved that for
Not
like.
even
Go ahead.
even like Microsoft, who they kind of don't have a lot to brag about this year, but they'll always try to figure something out and brag about it. They didn't even try. They just went right into the games, and good for them.
So we'll just kind of go in order of how the press conference went, and like, um, the first one. Okay, so the first thing they showed off, I didn't even know what it was at first. After I saw it, I recognized the title, but I had no idea. So this must have been a long time coming. Uh, and I guess The Last Guardian actually exists, and it's going to be coming out next year.
Yeah, I knew what it was immediately because it was rumored, and I was sort of expecting it, but we've been expecting it every year for the past 9 years since it was announced.
Nine?
Um,
Holy shit.
2006 was the last time anybody saw anything of this, I believe, and it was running on PS3, and it looked about the same. Uh, Obviously, like dumbed down a little bit because of the power between the PS4 and PS3, but it still included the dog bird thing and the little kid kind of commanding the dog bird thing around.
The little kid looks like he's a cartoon, while everything else is kind of like realistic.
I think it looked almost like a how Skyward Sword would look on the PS4. It was like a big watercolor painting, sort of. I think when you actually get the game and it's running in HD, uh, right there in front of you, it'll look different than any streaming that you can like unless you're viewing it in 1080p on YouTube or something, like unless you're playing it, it'll be a little dumbed down and not quite look as good as it would if you're playing it, but it looks beautiful and intense.
And I really do like the way it looks. The bird dog kind of creeped me out a little bit,
A
to
little
be
bit.
honest. Like I said,
It grows on.
I had no idea it was even a thing. So all these people getting excited, like, holy shit, it's finally happening. I was like, oh, this looks neat. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, like there's kind of an age gap. Like there's some people that have been watching E3. Uh, like I'm slightly older than you, but uh, I think my first E3 that I followed super closely was like 2004 ish, and then you just kind of watch it every year from there.
Mine
So
was like 07, 08, somewhere in there.
yeah, it depends on when you start on if you recognize this game or not, because you haven't heard anything from it since 2006 ish.
But yeah, it looks super interesting. It's something that I'd try out. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't.
it's by the Shadow of Colossus people, and that showed
I can
like the
totally
art style.
tell. I can
Yeah,
totally tell.
there's like one little part where he's climbing up the back of it, and it's like, oh yeah, that looks straight out of Shadow of Colossus. Um, but it's like you said, that bird thing, the bird dog creeps you out at first, and then it grows on you, so that you feel bad for it when it's like stuck on this thing that's about to fall. You're like, oh, bird dog.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, it's gonna die, and the game didn't even start yet.
Yeah. Oh, That game is gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be like the first time I played Journey, where you're just like, I don't know what this is, but I'm getting into it, and I'm probably never gonna stop playing it till I beat it.
Next up, a guy came out from Guerrilla Games, and they showed off a new thing called Horizon Zero Dawn, and it looks cool.
It
Uh,
sure does.
basically, um, if I'm remembering correctly, and I hope I am, this is the one with the robot animals.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
I
At,
think.
at first, I was watching it, and I was like, okay, another apocalyptic game set in the distant future where everything's all ruined. And then they started showing more and more where the civilization kind of just died out, and we're back to being cave people. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then they showed the robot animals, and I was sold. I was like, I gotta play this game.
Yeah, it's a big mashup of technology meets uh, kind of like
Nature,
primitive,
primitive,
yeah,
like
primitive
nature.
nature. And it's as if we made it to a robot future, and then everything collapsed, and everybody's back down to caveman status.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it looked really interesting. The combat looks fun. Uh, it's by the people who made Killzone,
Oh, okay.
and I never really got into Killzone much. It was mostly a shooter game,
Hmm.
but there was a big story in Killzone if you actually got into it. And so these people know how to tell a story. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with an action RPG instead of a shooter.
One thing I'm noticing, even just with this game and a couple of other games I saw on Sony or I meant Microsoft, and even Fallout 4. Fallout 4, it was made previously, I think, on for the older consoles. Like they've been making it that long that originally they had it running on older consoles. And
Yeah.
I think that's what they showed off the first time they announced it, because the newer footage we got was just a little bit better looking.
Hmm.
So what I'm getting at is a lot of these newer games are starting to look really good. Like the there's starting to be a fine line of, is this a game or is this a movie? Like the graphics are that good.
Yeah, there was a lot of good examples of that all across the board at E3. Um, Need for Speed was one of them, where they seamlessly went from like real life recorded footage to the game back to real life, and it just looks so good. Racers are usually pretty notorious for that. Um, there's a lot of games that are taking a different art style too, though. Like the ones that want to look realistic look really realistic, and then there's like we just said, The Last Guardian that looks like a watercolor painting. Uh, it's really nice all the different art styles that people can explore with the power of these new consoles.
Yeah, I'm really excited because gaming is, in my eyes and a lot of other people's eyes, an art form. So
Oh yeah,
like being able to see some of the stuff they're doing now is like, wow, I never thought I'd see this. Microsoft had a game they showed off called Beyond Eyes. It was an indie game, and it was about this blind girl, and you
oh
go through the
yeah,
world, and it just shows where she's at. Nothing behind you, nothing in front of you, and as you get closer to things, you find out what they are and things like that. And like that was it was I thought it was really creative, and I kind of touched on that when I was talking about the Microsoft stuff. You can hear that in another Dibblog. I won't go too much into it, but like just some of the stuff they're coming out with. One of which is coming up here soon because well, not coming out soon, but we'll talk about it soon. They started talking about like exclusive content for PlayStation, and it seems nowadays exclusive is it'll be on this console first, and then like a few months later you can play it on everything else,
mm-hmm.
um, except Wii U, because fuck that, I guess everybody thinks. You ever notice that? Like in a lot of the stuff, they're like coming this summer to PS4 and Xbox One and PC, and then they just like they do
Yeah,
that thing where they like put their hands out and like look around nodding at everybody, and everybody's just like cheering. Like there's Nintendo guys just like
Well, there's a really good reason, and
there it really is. You're right.
since we're not going to get into Nintendo, but there's a reason that the Wii U isn't getting ports. Like the system itself is only as powerful as the PS3 and 360.
Right.
Maybe slightly more powerful, but that system wasn't bundled with a traditional controller either.
Right.
So making a port of Assassin's Creed or Madden or Call of Duty or these other big selling games,
Costs a little more.
yeah, it costs them more money to port it over because they can't just port it over. They have to. They could just port the PS3 version over, but then they got to make it work with that controller with the screen on it,
Yep.
and for them to
Take the time and do all that.
yeah, take the time and resources to do that on a system that's only sold half as many as the next gen systems that are out right now. Even though it's been out a year longer, like it's just not worth it.
Right.
It was the same way with it was kind of the opposite with PS2. The PS2 had such a huge install base that they were basically printing money by making Madden and FIFA for the PS2 for so long, because people would still buy it because they still had a PS2 laying around and they were fine with it. They didn't need to get a PS3 or a 360.
So anyway, they started showing off these exclusive games. The first one was Hitman and Hitman. They talked about that a little bit. Which that looks really cool. At first I didn't know what I was looking at. It showed Square Enix. Then it started showing hyper realistic stuff and everything, and I was like, "Is this a Final Fantasy?" And like as the word thought left my head, it just started showing dudes shooting each other and everything. I was like, "Okay, no, this is Hitman."
When I didn't think it was Hitman at first or a Final Fantasy. At first I thought because it was realistic looking. It was all badass and party looking, like they were at like a party scene at first, and
Yeah.
rich people and shit. It looked exactly like Saints Row 4, so I thought it was Saints Row 5 because there was a lot of purple, and that's always been the Saints Row color.
Yeah.
And then Hitman, it showed that it was a Hitman game, and it's just okay.
I mean, it looks good. I might try it
Yeah,
out.
it looks interesting, and I'd try it out too, but it just kind of threw me for a loop.
Oh yeah. The coolest shot they had was the eye through the scope.
Yeah.
That one sticks out. Uh, then we had Street Fighter Five, which I want to play it. I like Street Fighter characters. I'm not good at the game, and I should play it more so that I can be good at the game. Because I've been playing as Ryu a lot in my 3DS Smash Bros, and I'm okay with him. Yes.
I'm terrible with fighters, so I kind of avoid them. But it looks interesting. It looks so pretty.
The stylized, yeah,
It looks like what they were trying to do with Street Fighter 4. Just since it's on a more powerful system, they can make it even
it's like a,
pop even more.
it's like
And look like a living comic book.
yeah. I was about to say it looks like a mix between like cartoony comic book and live action. And then they showed off, and this is what I was getting at with the really creative, like never expect to see it, but I remember it from last year, No Man's Sky. And like at first I was like, what the hell? And then like they started showing it off, and I was like, I remember this. This is awesome. Nobody's game nobody's game is going to be the same because the world is so big, and they start you off in any random that you just start off in random point, and you can explore the entire. When they showed off how big the game was, I was losing it, man. I couldn't.
Yeah, I was pretty much my jaw had hit the floor too.
Yeah.
And like when he's showing off like how it works on a planet and what you're discovering, and they had kind of already shown that off in the past, but not quite how it works when you're holding a controller in your hand. It was just more of a concept trailer last year.
Right.
And then now he's showing that they got it all to work. It looks great. It looks fun. and then he scales it back and zooms out, and he's showing all these stars, and each one of the stars is a solar system
And you
that
can
has its own planets floating around.
and you can visit every single one.
Yeah. It's basically like if you think back to Spore on the PC, it's what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
Spore wanted to be this huge game that like everyone had a different experience. Every now and then you bump into somebody else and be like, "Holy crap!" But it just didn't have that amount of scale to it. And this finally does. Uh, I'm not super impressed with the like shootouts that you can get into in space. I just want to go around and explore stuff.
That's how I feel too. And like they give you the option, so it's not like you have to just shoot people. It's not like you just
Yeah,
have
if
to.
I can like switch that off and
It,
just fly around and
it's kind of like a game for everybody, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I was like when they first started showing, I was like, oh, I remember this, and I got really excited because I remember how excited I was last year, and
Mhm.
just wow.
Next was Media Molecules Dreams game.
Oh my god, yeah,
Immediately, I knew that it was something Media Molecule,
yeah.
but I just didn't know what. And I was like, I hope it's not Little Big Planet again. They need to do
I was
something
like, oh
different.
no, they're not gonna. Because right before the conference, they showed off Tearaway, the new Tearaway for PS4, and I was like, oh, they're not gonna
Mhm.
bring that into the conference too, are they? And it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and I was
It's
like,
not a new Tearaway either. It's just a port.
is it just a port?
I believe so. There might be some little extra things and stuff
Oh,
that they couldn't do, or that they can do on the Vita that they couldn't do on a console experience.
but yeah, Dreams, man. I don't know exactly how everything's gonna work. Like, I don't know if I want to sit there and hold my controller and try to draw stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like, it's something that I need to see more before I'm convinced. But it looks really cool. The concept is amazing.
Yeah,
Again, nothing I thought I'd ever see before. Um,
that's a game that needs a demo or a trial
yeah,
so that they can show off what it is and hook you and then make you buy the game.
and think about it. Have they ever not done a demo or trial of any of their games so far?
True, true. Because a lot of people don't really know what to expect, so they'll want to get it out there.
Um, and then it happened.
No, no, hold on. Next was Firewatch.
Oh God, how did I forget about Firewatch, dude? That looks so cool.
It sure did. It looked creepy, like, and really tongue in cheek, and the humor was there. Like I was
Yeah,
giggling, like I don't know, just like the quips that each of them had. Like it sounded like a married couple that just like, well, fuck you too, but they totally love each other.
yeah, man. Like I wish I had my notes still. I'm kind of just going from a a roundup thing that you sent me and my memory, and like I read faster than I can think sometimes. And vice versa. So yeah, like I was watching that and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. I like the style. It's all kind of cartoony and it looks nice. The colors kind of pop, and that's something
Yeah, it's a
else.
really beautiful world.
It's also something else that it's something that I need to play in order to know if I'm actually gonna like it. I mean that's the case with any game really, but
Yeah,
like,
I just need to see a little bit more of that one.
yep,
See like what the missions are, if there's any combat. Uh, I don't really think there would be too much combat. I think it's like one of those kind of go through the paces, figure out this mystery story.
yeah, and I kind of like those
Maybe
sort of
there's
things. So
yeah, yeah. Gone Home always intrigued me, and I think it was at the Microsoft one where they showed off like the sequel thing to Gone Home. I
I
forget what it was called, but
I
it looked interesting.
I
The
think
space thing.
yeah, you're right.
Gone
Tac-
Home is eventually coming to PS4.
Tacoma is what you're thinking of.
Yes, yes. Gone Home is eventually coming to PS4, and that's such a good game. Like 2 hours long, maybe.
Oh
Just like
wow,
Journey. You just
cool.
don't forget about your experience with that game.
I still haven't played Journey. Eventually, I'll get around to it. Um, And then the dude's just like, so like how many years then? I don't remember.
18.
He's like, so like 18 years ago, this game was made, right? And everybody liked it. And like on the back screen behind him, it's like one of them, you know, the PS3 and PSP like backgrounds where it's like the wavy thing.
The default background, yeah. The
Yeah,
shiny, wavy.
yeah, it was kind of like one of those on the screen behind him. Only it was like three slim green lines, and like everybody was like, oh, and then he's like, well, watch this video, and then we're just like, oh my god.
I was, yeah, like I was going into it nervously, thinking that the rug would be pulled out from under us just like it was uh, last year's E3.
It was at CES, I think, when they showed off the.
Yeah, they showed off a port of Final Fantasy
And
VII,
then
and
it's
still
coming
coming
to
to PS4. But when they showed it off, they teased it, and everyone in the crowd was just like getting pumped up. And then it was revealed that it's just a port
and we were all really pissed off.
of the PC remake kind of thing, which was just kind of like not super cheap up conversions, but it was just like some up conversions, some trophies. Nothing, no major work went into it.
Right, but it still looks like I have the original PS1 version on disc.
Oh yeah,
And if you play that compared to PC, you're like, wow, whoa, there actually is a difference.
yeah. There's a big difference. The pixels got cleaned up a bit. It's kind of like if you just put a filter over the PlayStation version. But so everyone, I was just kind of going into this nervously, and I was thinking, well, maybe it's like Advent Children 2 or like another game in the Final Fantasy VII universe,
Yeah.
like Crisis Core or Dirge of Cerberus was.
Even the narration led you to think that.
Yeah, the Crisis or the Advent Children especially.
They are coming back.
Yeah, and I'm like, ugh, this better be a remake.
And then the logo.
Please be a remake.
And then the logo, and then remake, and the internet, and everybody watching, and everything just blew up, and everything was awesome, and everybody was happy. And we were all like, dude, Twitter was blowing up for like 2 hours straight. Just, oh my god!
They showed the crowd, and this is nothing but like media people, and yeah, like they were giving standing ovations and just like grabbing their heads, just like, it's happening! It's happening!
Everybody's just losing their shit, me included. And
Oh, yeah.
I was a few minutes behind you. And you you sent me a message just said, ah. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh no. No.
I didn't want to ruin it for you.
And then I was like, no, I'm still at the Assassin's Creed part. Who cares? How did we skip over Assassin's Creed? We don't care. Well, actually, Syndicate looks pretty good. They showed off a new character that you can play as.
I still don't care about Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed.
my brother's a huge Assassin's Creed fan.
It looks neat, and it's like getting back to that like neatness, I guess. But I don't know. It's just, I think it's overstayed its welcome. It needs to like just go away for a bit so we
I
can appreciate
feel
it.
that games that come out here get tired.
Yeah, they immediately get tired. Unless it's a sports game, I understand sort of because sports changes so rapidly.
Weird.
New players and new, yeah. I mean, even if it's a WWE game, you got new characters to play as and new modes and new ideas. But still, like whether it's Assassin's Creed, Tony Hawk, Guitar Hero, everyone gets tired of it. Call of Duty is starting to slip.
Call of Duty made me laugh this year.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy VII, oh, like
there's so much.
I'm holding on to Kristen, and I'm like, I'm either gonna be really mad or really happy in like 5 seconds, and she's like not knowing what's happening yet. And oh man, when the music hit, and that's when you knew it was like a remake.
There's people who I know haven't played games in, let's say, 4 or 5 years. They heard about remake and they like lost their mind. Like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah, there's people that, yeah, like you just said, like that have fallen out of gaming, or like life got in the way, they had a kid or went
Mm-hmm.
to the army or navy or whatever and just kind of fell out of it, that some of their favorite games from their childhood can get remade and bring them back into gaming, or even just bring them back in so they can play this. And yeah. Well, a friend of mine had a really good question though. Are they going to integrate any of Crisis Core into the game? They might. If they do, I think they're going to chain. It's just going to be like story snippets rather than going through all of Crisis Core.
What if they implemented it
Maybe
so?
the flashbacks will be more fleshed out or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Um, well, some of my favorite images I've seen so far are like, remember the like male bodybuilding gym?
Yeah.
That's gonna be in HD. They have a picture of Link. Wow, Cloud standing in front of all of these guys, and it just says, "This will be in HD."
And Cloud in a dress.
Cloud in a dress. Yep.
And you get to customize that dress scene. Like, he can wear like different colored lipstick and stuff, I believe. But you couldn't see those details on the PlayStation because nobody had mouths.
Everybody's hands were square. Dude, as soon as I saw Barrett's gun arm, I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, that's what
Mhm.
sold me. Not even
I
Cloud.
need to watch that trailer again just to
I just saw it
have a
again.
joy again.
I just saw it again today during the Square conference, but talk about that later.
I just
So
realized I can zoom in on you. Sorry.
like uh like I was sold as soon as they showed Barrett's gun arm, because for a minute I had no idea what we were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, they're back, and Barrett walks in, and then it shows Cloud, and like, I feel like they should have showed the whole party walk in instead of just Barrett and Cloud. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's in really early development. It probably won't be till like 2017,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
hopefully
17,
2017 that we play it, because
17,
that'll mark the
18.
20th anniversary.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I
Um,
thought. 97.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
So hopefully by the end of 2017, we'll have it. Um, if since it's Square, it'll probably be a little later though. They're kind of notorious for delaying things anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just glad it's finally happening.
Actually,
Like Square.
another thing they showed right before the 7 remake was this new one called World of Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That actually looks pretty fun. The cutesy art style doesn't put me off too much. The fact that
It was weird.
the one thing that kind of sold me on it is it's Vita and PS4,
Right.
which means
Um,
crossplay might be a thing, because
maybe.
they're pretty good at doing the crossplay cross buy thing when it's for both. Except for and
Mhm.
I mean, Final Fantasy X didn't do that, but you know, uh, but it looked pretty fun. It looks like you ever play the Crystal Bearers games, or not Crystal Bearers,
Crystal
but
Chronicles.
yeah, did you ever play any of those?
Yep. I was just gonna say that it looks. I mean, a completely different art style from the Crystal Chronicles games,
Right.
but like the top-down view, that you have like a partner with you at all times,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't really like go into whether that person was like controlled by another player or whether it was like a computer player or somebody online, but there was still like a party of two people running around in all the shots, and yeah, it looks like kind of a Crystal Chronicles reboot, or taking the ideas from Crystal Chronicles and just like doing something different with them,
Another
because
question. Go ahead.
they showed cameos from popular Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah.
Cecil was in the trailer. Vivi had like a little bit of an appearance.
Cloud came up. It showed the Warrior of Light from the first one.
Yeah, just your standard black mages and just a lot of Final Fantasy tropes, cactuars and chocobos.
Something that a lot of the races that were in Crystal Chronicles were really cool, like the metal knight talking people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Are they in anything else, or are they Crystal Chronicles exclusive? Because I have no idea.
If they are, they have a different design. I forget what they call them.
I played,
But yeah, those designs were pretty much exclusive to Crystal Chronicles.
but yeah, I really enjoyed those games, and I feel like I'm gonna like this one. I'm more of a portable gamer than I am not mobile gamer. I don't play like phone games a whole lot, which and there's a couple things that made me mad at Square. We'll get to that. Um, but there's the mobile games, whatever. But I'd rather play like my DS or my Vita because I feel like, all right, well, I gotta go do this, close or lock, and come back to it later. Whereas if I'm
Mhm.
playing a console, back then anyway, because I don't have any next gen consoles yet, but they do this too. You can put the console to sleep and just come back later now, but like you can't do that with anything else. You'd have to find a save point and shut the game off when
Mhm.
you're ready to. So like a lot of games, especially RPGs, I've always played handheld. So I'm kind of excited.
Depending on how this game pans out, how it's played, uh, I might do the same thing and get it for Vita because it just seems like a good little play it when you want to portable thing.
But after like my hype was going on for a while, and I tuned out. I have to be honest, I tuned out for like a good 5 minutes, and the next thing I remember seeing, oh no, they started talking about Shenmue.
Yeah, Shenmue.
Is that what it's called? I don't know.
Yeah,
Honestly, I've never.
Shenmue. Oh, it was the thing that made the Dreamcast. It was just like I think I should probably like clarify. Shenmue was this like Dreamcast. I know the first one was on Dreamcast. I believe the second one was on Dreamcast. It was like this Sega thing that the people that love it, and the people that don't like it, like still have an appreciation for it, but they know it's not their kind of thing. Shenmue 1 and 2 were both for Dreamcast. The only way we got 2, though, was on the Xbox in the States. And it's like this weird kind of free roaming role playing game that you can just kind of like a really, really less violent uh, Grand Theft Auto kind of game, but more of like a life simulator. Yakuza was kind of the same way, like that whole series.
Okay.
Um, really interesting. I've never played them. Always wanted to. um, they came out and wanted you to support a Kickstarter, and Sony promised that if they made their Kickstarter goal of $2 million, that Sony would help with the funding, help with the development, and bring it to the PS4. Within 8 or 9 hours, it shattered its goal.
Yeah.
It's almost at 3 million. Not sure what the stretch goals are or anything. I'm not seeing anything. But for nearly $30, you get yourself a digital copy, and everything kind of goes up pretty quickly from there.
Yeah.
Collector's editions.
Some people were like, "Oh, why are you gonna announce a Kickstarter thing at Sony press conference?" Blah 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 blah. But like, I think it was a good move. I think
People were losing their minds.
yeah. Um, After that, I don't really much else, honest. Oh, they did.
Um,
They did the Call of Duty thing.
yeah, after that, Project Morpheus was shown off a little bit,
Just a little bit. They didn't do too much.
but it was mostly just a sizzle reel. They didn't have any like actual uh, demonstration on the stage or anything like that, like they did with HoloLens. So that's kind of like a minus for Sony because they really wanted to get Morpheus out before anybody else, I believe, and they seem to be. They're telling you that it's coming along good. They announced some games that are coming to it, but they didn't really show anything off.
Right.
Apparently, the people that are on the E3 floor can play around with it. So maybe we'll hear more in the next few days when people like IGN and Kotaku and all them get to play around with it. But yeah, then Call of Duty came out, and this is a huge deal.
So
Kinda.
all them people who are Xbox fanboys merely because they get everything for Call of Duty first might be being like, well, I guess I'm a PlayStation owner now because Call
Yeah,
of Duty.
and Destiny did the exact same thing earlier in the show, where there's DLC coming to Destiny that is coming to PS4 long before it goes to Xbox.
So Call of Duty is now PlayStation first instead of Xbox first, and this made me laugh so hard because my family has always been Xbox first because of Call of Duty. Because my brother loves the Call of Duty series, and he used to play it a whole lot more than he does now. Now he's more of a PC gamer. Good on him. But they used to just Xbox was better because everything came out on Xbox first. And I can't wait to see if I'm right and my family's just like, well, I guess we're getting it on the PS4. Like I don't know. My mom's stubborn. She might not. Sorry, mom. But she might stick with Xbox. But I have a good feeling about PlayStation families popping up only because of Call of Duty.
Um, Last they ended the show with Uncharted 4. I have never been a giant Uncharted fan. I know that they're out there, and I get the appeal. It looks incredible, makes you feel like you're on an Indiana Jones kind of adventure. Um, I tried getting into Uncharted 1 and kept dying all the time. That's just me. Same with Uncharted 2. I feel like that's a game that I would love to watch. And that's what they did at E3. They showed you a snippet of the game. And I'm just like, wow, this looks incredible. Like, but even just in the demo, they're taking a buggy and there's this truck from hell that keeps reappearing. And I just kept laughing about it. Like
My favorite part of the demo was definitely they start it up. There's a cutscene, and then he's like, "Come on, follow me," and then it restarts. He's standing there for like a minute and a half.
they couldn't get the controller to work apparently. Like the people
then,
on the stage were like, oh.
"Come on!" Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they had to restart the demo, and like I'm like, "Well, there it is, Sony, you win."
Yeah. But when they got it going, like there's this scene where you're driving this like Jeep down a hill and there's this truck chasing you. And no matter what you do, you can't lose the truck. And you go like up these stairs and like around this building and the truck's like still trying to get to you. It's like, oh my God. And that truck was still at the end, like when you make it to the bottom of the hill and everything. But I feel like I would be playing that and I would make a wrong turn and run right into the truck and it's game over. And I'd have to try again and again and again. Because the person playing it like knew exactly where to turn and how to go down. But if you're watching it, like there's multiple turns you can go down.
Yeah.
And I think I would just screw it up over and over again and
Honestly,
have to restart.
Honestly, I think there were multiple routes. Also, that brings me to another point. A lot of games are going big open world sandbox sort of style.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. I don't know what that was.
I'm yawning.
No, there was like a really big noise.
Oh, I hit my keyboard.
No.
Sorry.
Anyway, so Metal Gear's doing it, but we knew about that for a while. That's something that kind of was weird to me. We saw a trailer before the conference for Metal Gear, and I only caught like a bit of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but we didn't see Metal Gear at any of the conferences, and that I thought that was a little weird. But and in light of some of the other bigger things coming out, I almost forgot about Metal Gear, and I really hope it doesn't get forgotten about. So overall, Sony really impressed me. Um, I feel like their biggest things were a remake and a Kickstarter campaign announcement for a game that everybody's kind of been waiting for. And a lot of people, like, I'm not saying it was terrible and that's the only reason they did really well, because they were knocking out of the park from like their first announcement all the way through. There were a couple boring moments in the middle, but um, they were knocking it out of the park all the way through. And I feel like basically both companies, Microsoft and Sony, were doing that
Yep.
the whole way through all of their conferences. So
Microsoft and Sony brought their A game this time. There were definite perks to eat both of them. Kind of lull, boring parts in the middles of both of them. If you're into shooters, Xbox is probably a little more exciting. There's some more like adventurous, explory kind of games on Sony's part. So it kind of depends on what kind of gamer you are, on which side you're going to take.
and overall,
But
I'm really not gonna declare, oh, these guys did better
no,
than these guys, because they did equally as well in my book.
I think so too.
As my buddy put it in the other Dibblog on Microsoft, the winners of E3 are never a single company. It's always the gamers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I think we kind of covered all the bases, unless there's any something else you wanted to touch on.
The only thing I was disappointed in was that Sony has yet to respond to any sort of backward compatibility.
Yeah.
In a way, they have PlayStation Now that does that, but yeah, they still haven't had like any sort of free, like nothing compares to a free update that gives you access to the 360 games you already own or can go out and find and buy for real cheap now. So unless Sony responds to, hey, you can pop PS3 discs in your PS4 now, it's just not going to compare. Like,
Right.
they could make a PlayStation Now subscription free with PlayStation Plus. That'd be kind of interesting. Then anybody with PlayStation Plus has access to like 100 or so PS3 titles.
All right. Well, I'm not sure what happened there, but we seem to have lost audio. We basically, from this point, just said that it would be a better subscription service if it was included with PlayStation Plus, so there are no extra fees or just full backwards compatibility with discs. I did read an article recently that said that the PlayStation guy, just thinks it's too hard. And I just think that's an excuse, and if Microsoft can do it, Sony can do it too. I don't think it's that difficult, honestly. We then talked about PlayStation Vue and how it's replacing cable. I'm excited, and he's excited. We might even do a separate small Dibblog on PlayStation Vue and our thoughts on that, just because it got cut out of this. So, look forward to that eventually. The next one that you guys will hear should be Nintendo. As always, remember to like, share, subscribe, and all that fun junk. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter to get updates when the new videos come out. And I guess I'll see you later.